Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I am Melanie.
And I'm Carla.
And we are on episode 94, and today we're doing our top 9 games that is on our wish list. And we decided to do that because Mother's Day's just passed, and our birthday's coming up, so it just seemed a good time to start thinking about what we want. Now, before we get into that too much, actually, I was gonna bring up, Carla, like, what's your process to decide which board games you buy? Do you have a process?
It's probably a process because I watch a lot of content creators. And so a lot of times they will show me games that will interest me, especially creators that like similar games to me. I will always watch them, and they will review them, like new games a lot of times. How else do I do it? It's not like I typically know a game before it comes out. So it must be from that and from podcasts, but typically podcasts are games that have already been out, people talk about. So mostly I would say it's content creators that choose the game for me. Or if I've played a game with someone, at a convention or somewhere, and and I hadn't heard of it and we played it and I liked it, then that would be another way. What about for you?
So I ask the universe process. And what I mean is, like, I tend to not seek out a game too much. And I mostly go by, if I come across it and it crosses my path, it might be meant to be. Now, my friend Justin has kind of understood that, so every time he's selling games, he just brings them over to my house, and he's like, so here are these ones.
These are crossing your path.
These are crossing your path. So yeah, so I have definitely bought a few that way at the influence of other people that are selling their games. And it's like, well, Melanie, don't you want this one? And most of the time I think I do. So that's happening a lot. But yeah, like I would say, of course, like content creators, because it's not very often that a game has come out that I'm not aware of. So, well, I mean, like, to a certain point, but like maybe not like, oh, it's in Kickstarter. I might not be aware of that because I'm trying not to look at Kickstarter too much. I like the instant gratification. I'm paying a game, I'm taking it home today, right? But I do have quite a few Kickstarters on the go anyways. But yeah, so it's kind of like I'm trying to take a more organic approach. If it's meant to be, it would cross my path. But then I am buying a lot of games, so my path is crossing a lot. Yeah. But yeah, so I thought, like, at first I thought that would slow me down, but I don't think it is.
Right.
Not in the circle of friends that I have, I guess. And attending all these conventions, and yeah.
I do also have, like, this wish list is obviously, most of them are new games that I would, they're not even out yet or they're just barely out. Oh. But then I have like another list of sort of older games that I would wait for the used market for them to find them at a cheaper price, because I'm not sure that I would want to pay full price for them. But these ones are all typically newer games that I would like to
And it's
acquire.
Funny because we're talking about just before we started this episode. And then Carla's like, well, this one might be quick since we haven't played any of these games. And I was like, huh. I have played every single one of the games that's on my list that I put up. And I don't know, I just didn't think of putting anything that I haven't played. Or when I was sitting down, okay, what do I want? It was the ones I've played that came to mind, right? But yeah, it will be interesting. I don't anticipate a lot of crossovers.
No, I don't. Oh, I think one maybe, but I don't know if you'll count it. Like if you'll put it on your list.
So maybe one. We'll have to see. Now, before we get to our wish list, Carla, what have you been playing lately?
Well, I finally got Sky Team. Picked it up. Nice. Did I order? And I don't remember if I ordered that or I got it here at Wizards Loft, but I did acquire it. And this one was requested to us by JT,
Oh,
from
yeah. Yeah, he
Flip Side
praised
of, is it called Flip Side?
Flip Side of
Gaming?
Board Games.
Board Games, yeah. So he was telling us he loved it so much he was going to send us a copy, and we're like, oh no, we'll wait until it comes out, here, because the shipping would be stupid from the States. So I finally got it, and at first when it was like hyped up, I was just like, I don't know if that's even for me. Like, I'm not really into control panels and all that kind of thing, but you can play it solo. So that's why I'm like, oh, well, yeah, let's get it. Cause at least I can also play it solo if I want. And that's how I learned it. I played it solo a couple times, played it with John, played it with Cherry, and I really like it.
Nice.
I think John liked it as well. I'm not sure if Cherry really did. We only played it once or twice, but it's such a neat game because you were playing, it's only a 2-player game, and you're playing as either the pilot or the co-pilot. And I'm not sure if this is how it is in airplanes, but they cannot talk. Pretty sure they can talk when they're in an airplane. Like, Jesus, I hope they can. But you can actually talk before the round. You can say, like, this is kind of what we need to do. But one person, or the pilot, is in charge of the brakes, is in charge of now I'm going to get these confused. One is in charge of the landing gear, and the other person is in charge of the flaps, they call them.
Yeah.
And then, so there's like all these different spots to put dice on, and those two that I just mentioned have to be full by the end of the game. I would hope so. Yeah, they have to be complete. You have these little airports that it's like a strip on top of the board with a bunch of airplanes. And on the other side, you have all these different speeds of what you're trying to reduce your speed, right? And it's, I think, 7 rounds. So what you're trying to do is clear all these airports of planes so that you can land. And so some of them will have no airplanes, and then you can slide that down. But if there is an airplane there and you actually have to slide it down, you lose the game. So that's one way you can lose. You need to, you have to level out the plane. So sometimes, like, there's 2 spots, one for each pilot and co-pilot. If I put a 3 on that spot and my co-pilot put a 4, well, the plane would tilt towards him, which is fine, but as long at the end of the game, it has to be even. At least in the base game, there's a bunch of little expansion things that you can. Sometimes those will want the airplane to come in like slightly sideways, but we just played the base so far. So you have to do that, and if you're not even at the last round, then you lose. You have to, like I said, you have to have your speed in the last round equal to or lower than the brakes, because if you're faster than your brakes, then you lose the game as well. You're not gonna stop. So you each have 4 dice, and you roll them behind a screen, and so you can't see other people's dice, and then you just take turns placing the dice down. Now each round you have to have placed one on the tilt of the plane and the speed of the plane. The first 6 rounds, the speed is basically in order to move up each airport. So that's where, if you have it on the left side of these little slots, it won't move at all. If you have it in the middle, it'll slide down 1. And if you have it to the right, it'll slide down 2. So the higher the number, the more it'll slide down. So, if I put a 1 down, and I'm like, we don't want to slide this down because there's still airplanes there, then the other person would need to put a lower dice. Now, you can clear the planes by, it's like a radio communication. The pilot has 1 slot and the co-pilot has 2 slots, so you can clear them. And sometimes, if you just don't have the dice, you do have these little spots on the bottom that are for coffee breaks, so you can just put any dice you want there and put a coffee cup on, and that will be able to be used by anyone to adjust the pips on a dice.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of neat because sometimes you have nowhere to put a dice, but you're like, okay, I'll just go up a coffee, and then at least someone can use that in the future. There is 2 times per game where you get a reroll too, and that reroll can be all or any of your dice for each of you. So that kind of comes into effect, I think, in the 3rd round you can use that, and then maybe the 5th round. Now, you just keep going to the 7 rounds. You do have to go right to the 7th round. And then, like I said, all those things kind of have to align. It sounds like it might be really difficult. The base game, I wouldn't say it's hard. It's puzzly for sure, but the little expansions that come in it are different airports and different obstacles that you will encounter while you're going to each airport kind of thing. But it's really neat. And like it has a cool little solo mode too, but I'm interested to try out all these other little modules in there.
Right.
I think you would like it. You and Lee would like the game. You could borrow mine if you don't pick one up. But another one that I've been obsessed with lately, playing it on the table and on BJ, is called Chromino. Not sure if it's Chromino or Chromino, but it's just an abstract strategy game where it comes with these plastic tiles, even though I don't really like plastic tiles. I like acrylic tiles, but it doesn't matter. It's still a fun game. So these plastic tiles have 3 squares on them. Like it's one piece with 3 squares, and each square is a different color. Some could be the same color. And all you're doing is at the start of the game, there's one tile in the middle, and it'll have 2 different colors and then a wild, it's like a chameleon, they say, in the middle of it. Now you all start with 8 tiles, and all you need to do is play them and get rid of your tiles. So what you have to do is you have to match 2 of the squares to 2 of the other squares on the table. So if there's a red and then the wild and a green, I can put, if I had a tile with a blue and a red, I can stick it next to the wild and the red. Now it'll kind of stick out. So then the next player will go and hopefully they can put one, and you just continue on until you can't play one. It sounds simple, but because you have to connect 2 colors each time, it's tricky. And it's neat how the board will, or the table, like the layout will start to build up, because then sometimes you can connect 2 different ones that have stuck out. And if you can't play a tile, you have to pick one up, like out of the bag, and then you do have a chance to play that one. But if not, then you have to just keep it and just keep gathering tiles. It's a very simple rule game, but another one that it's quite strategic, because you might have like 4 different spots where you can play tiles, but you have to think, okay, if I play this one here, that'll open my other tile up to be able to be played, and so on and so on. But it's really neat. You should try it on BGA. It's free, and it's very addicting. They even have a little solo mode on there you can play, but it's really neat. I wish they would make a deluxe version of this, because I just love it. What about you? What have you been playing?
So my Kickstarter copy of Skyrise arrived. So,
right.
And I backed it through Sentry Box, so they called me up to go. It's like, hey, it's here. So friend Bernie picked it up, and then I ended up going to Calgary, and we met up. So I gave him some games he was getting, and then I picked up Skyrise, so we got to play it. So first of all, the components in this game are unreal. Now, you can buy the retail version. It has like these wooden blocks that represents the buildings, which looks really cool. Now I got the mid-range, so it's a Kickstarter deluxe copy, but I didn't get the Sundrop one. I just was like, oh, this will be good enough. But they are amazing. So you got all of the buildings, and each building for each players are unique. And there's 3 different sizes, but they all have a different look to them, right? And then one will show, like, it'll be like, oh, this is a theater, or like whatever. If you kind of start paying attention to the details, it's really cool. Plus, the board itself, like, because you have the board that you unfold, but then you place the board that you'll be playing, like the map you're going to be playing on. And depending on the number of players, you'll be placing that many boards on that connects with the inner island. That locks everything into place. Now, this one is made to look into like a steampunk sort of base, because this board is like 1 inch thick that goes onto the board, and the whole around like is all designed to look like gears and, you know, like machinery parts. Like it looks really, really cool. And then my copy, being the middle range one, has the cardboard tokens. The top tier one had wooden tokens that you place on the board. So I didn't go all the way to the top tier. I went mid-range, but I am still very impressed. But then what's even more impressive than all that is the storage. First of all, you have like this amazing tray with a lid and everything fits into that. And then on the side of the box is a diagram that shows how everything fits into the box. So it tells you where everything goes.
I love that.
I love that. So it has that kind of goes all in there. The rule books was really cool as well. It was really easy to follow along and learn the game. And then the components, the way it all goes together is so impressive. And then the gameplay is really neat. Like I went into it, and until I played it, I had not looked into the gameplay of it at all. Like I don't ask a lot of questions for Roxley game. I normally just back them. So when I got it, I was like, okay, so we're putting buildings on a map. Let's see what it's about. But this has a really interesting area control bidding mechanism, because all of us have these buildings, and you put the buildings like upside down, because on the bottom of the building there's numbers on there that'll go from 1 to 100 and whatever. I don't know what the highest number is, 150 maybe. So you have these buildings. Now every building has a unique number as well. So if I'm playing the blue player, I'm going to have different numbers than the beige player or whatever. I think it's beige, yellow belt number player. So our numbers are going to be different, right? And if it's my turn, I'm going to start by placing a building onto the board. And you, on the very first, you have to start in the inner circle, like the inner island. But afterwards, you can kind of start the bid next to another building. It doesn't matter where on the map. So I'll place a building face down, so the number is facing up, and I put 33. So now the next player will have to decide if he wants to outbid me. But then he also has to go one space away that's adjacent to my number 33. So it's kind of interesting, like, because you've got certain goals that you're trying to do. So maybe you're trying to get buildings in a row. Or maybe you're trying to get the most buildings on yellow locations. Or different things like that. But as you bid, you're also moving away from where the original bid is. So it's like, okay, well, I really need a yellow location. And that spot is next to a yellow location. So I could go bid on that yellow location. And not only that, the token that's on top of it gives me this token, which I really need as well. Or I really want as well. So then, maybe I should bid high. And then you bid, instead of just going like, hey, well, I'm going to bid 45, maybe I'll bid, I'm going to bid 112. And then it was like, whoa, she really wants this, but is anybody else able to outbid me? Maybe. And maybe they want the brown location that's next to my yellow location that I just bid on even more than I do. And then they go and outbid me, right? So the whole way that works is so interesting. So slowly the board is filling up. So now once we have a winning bid, the winning bid flips their building over, so it's now face up. And everybody else takes their face down buildings and brings them back into your collection of buildings. Now, you don't bid with all of the buildings you have. You got the first era, then you'll score a portion of the things, and then you do the second era, then you do the final scoring. So you're like, and then, because you're also going to score majority on each island, which is going to be whoever has the tallest building, the most tallest building, gets 5 points for majority on that particular segment of the island. So, everything just comes together. The gameplay is very simple. You place building downs and you're scoring, and then you'll collect the token where you win the bids, and then you add that to your player board. So it's super simple, but it gets so interesting with the strategies of what you're trying to do, where you're gonna build. And then if you ever build and then you build, you bid in a corner, so I'm gonna bid here, there's nothing around me, so I guess I just get it. And then you just get it. And then in the second era, there's also monuments that you can do, and you have one monument that you can bid, and that automatically wins the bid. And you just put your monument that wins the bid. The monument has a certain power that you would have picked through different cards before the start of the second era. So, okay, well, I'm putting my monument here. I win the bid. It does this. But the monuments don't count towards the area control for building height. It doesn't have an associated height. But I was super, super impressed with this. I played it at 2. It was great. And then we got played at 4, and it was great. I'm just really enjoying this game.
Awesome.
Yeah. So then afterwards, after playing that one, I was like, okay, what else do I have like as building games that I haven't played and I should get played? So I had bought a reprint because they recently did a reprint for the game Aquire. Because Aquire is old.
Oh, very old.
I don't remember what age it was, like, or what year it was published, but I remember when I looked it up, I was like, holy crow. Oh yeah, 1963. So before like well before I was born. My dad would have been 3 years old when this game was created. So, and it's so like I got the new version that they did as a reprint, and I was like, all right, let's try this one out. And this is another one that I was really, at least would have made my wish list had I not bought it already. But you have this tile, well, like this board that has like these raised buttons, I guess, that go like a square, right? So you got like 1A, 2A, 2B, 3A, and so on, and then you have 1B, A, 2B, and so on. So you have all a designated number on each of these raised buttons. And then on your turn, you're gonna go and you have like these tiles in front of you that's gonna fit on top of those buttons, and they all have the number of where they're gonna go. And says, okay, I'm gonna play this one on F5. So I have an F5, there's nothing around, it's good. If you ever put two of them together and it creates a cluster of two, then you can use and put one of the hotel thing on top of it. And now this is a hotel. And for creating the hotel, you get one of the stock card for that hotel. And after you've done that, you can then buy stock for any hotels that are active on the board. And depending on how large the cluster and the type of hotel that it is, how much those stocks are going to cost for you to purchase them. So, okay, so I built this hotel. It's the yellow hotel. It's the only hotel that's active right now. So you can only buy 3 stocks per turn. It's like, I'm going to buy this many. And then you get it. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have these hotels. They're going to share. You're going to place like a tile that would cost for these hotels to share a side and connect with each other. Then whichever one is the bigger hotel will absorb the smaller hotel. They're buying them out, so that's going to become part of this other hotel. So let's say we've been building yellow and then we had green as well. Now all of a sudden the yellow is going to take over the green. So if you have shares in the green, you now have the option of either trading for the yellow 2 for 1, or you can sell your green shares depending on how large the cluster was for that price. And then that's how you get money to be able to buy more shares. So it gets really interesting because you're like, okay, so this one is getting pretty big. And I think it's about to take over purple over here. So I'm going to concentrate on buying purple stocks so that when it does take over, I can trade some of it to get more of the yellow stocks, but then I can also sell a bunch of purple stocks to get more money so I can buy more shares. And then at the end of the game, everybody sells all their shares that they have, and it's whoever has the most money. But it is such a simple concept, but it's like the stock portion of it was so neat. I really enjoyed this one. This is one that I hum and hawed, like I wanted it. I don't know if I want it. Do I want it? It's an old game. Is it any good? I don't know. People talk about it like it's good. Mm-hmm. And then Justin brought it over and says, here, you should buy this one. So I bought his copy and then played it, and I'm so glad I did because it was such a really fun, neat game. I am impressed. And it kind of goes well with like a building theme, and like it's satisfying to play. So that was the second game I played, Aquire.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have Aquire, but unless I played it a long, long time ago, I don't know that I have played it. It feels very familiar, but I didn't think I played it.
Yeah, no, I was impressed with it. So I'm glad they did a reprint.
Mm-hmm. There's many versions of it.
Well, since 1963, like that game has a staying power. It's on deal, right?
Exactly.
But, I was really impressed with this one.
Awesome.
All right, so let's get talking about our wish list. And then like I said, we expect no crossovers, but
maybe
we'll
one.
see if there's one. So, let's get started. What's your number 9? Or do you have any honorable mentions?
Well, just, but they're Kickstarter, so I won't even mention them. But no, okay. My number 9 is a new one coming out in 2025, and it's by Jamie Stegmaier, and this one's called Vantage. Now this...
I just saw that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's like a open world cooperative. Is it always cooperative? No, I'm not positive that it's always cooperative exploration game. Now it's not a campaign game, he said, so it's like you play it like once and then you can play it again kind of thing.
I love that.
But the neat thing is, I think you're all traveling together, but then you're going to another planet. So it's kind of space, which is weird for me, but what happens is I think you crash. I could be getting this all wrong. And then you all are split up. So you are exploring this planet and there's like 1,500 cards in this game or something.
Oh my God.
You are exploring it from your vantage point. So you're going to get cards and it's going to be from your view kind of thing. And then everybody else will get some, but it'll be from their view. So you're going to be all on different parts of this planet, I believe,
right,
and exploring. And I'm not sure if you are trying to fight people like monsters or whatever, but that's all I really know about. That's all I've seen so far. I watched a Man vs. Meeple. They kind of did a little preview, but they don't have pictures. They had a picture of one of the cards, I think. And that was about it. So it looks really cool. And he's been working on it. Jamie's been working on it for 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
So I'm pretty sure he's put his heart and soul into this one. But yeah, it interests me. Even though it's like a planet and could be spacey. I'm not sure. It doesn't really look like they show the picture of, I don't even know if it's the cover or one of the cards. No, it doesn't.
Look at it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that one does look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes on it for sure.
Yeah. And you're a Stonemaier champion, right? Because mine expired.
I am.
So we might have to get this.
Yes, it looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
Perfect. All right, my number 9. Actually, and the reason I put this one on my list is I had a friend contact me, says, "Hey, Melanie, can I borrow this game from you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then I went to grab it off my shelf, and then I looked, and I was like, "Oh, I don't own this one." So it feels now like I probably should.
You don't know your children.
All 815 of them, right? Gosh. But so, Calico. And Calico is published in 2020 by Kevin Well, I have the second one. Like, I have...
Verdant and Cascadia?
I have Cascadia. I don't have Verdant.
Okay.
But I don't have Calico. So, and we played it recently because a friend brought her copy over. Said, well, since you don't have it, like, let's play it. So, and I've played it before quite a few times. And so I thought I owned it, but I don't. But this one is a neat little puzzly game, and you're adding tiles and you're building a quilt. And with your quilt, you'll have different pattern of fabrics and different color fabrics. And you're trying to get different clusters around these scoring locations on your tile to meet the score. And if you meet the pattern that it says for colors, then you score so much. And if you meet it for pattern, then you would score so much. But if you meet for both, then you would score the higher number, and that would be like way worthwhile. But then you're also trying to create patterns, clusters of different kind of value clusters so that you can attract cats onto your quilt, because if you have cats on your quilt at the end of the game, they're going to be worth different amount of points depending on the cat. And you're also trying to create clusters of colors of like 3 or more so that you can add buttons, and then those are going to be worth points. And if you get one of each buttons, you also get the rainbow button. Like, it's just really cutesy, simple, puzzly game, but it gets cluttered and complicated, kind of like Sagrada does, and now all of a sudden everything doesn't fit anymore, and it's like you got to give up on certain goals that you were hoping to do. And it's just really neat, beautiful table presence, and a game that I thought I owned, but turns out I don't. So I'm adding it to my list. My number 9 is Calico.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a simple rules, but it's very hard because you think you can get everything perfect, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I need that one exact tile." It's not coming out because you want like that pattern and that color, and it's like, no, it's not coming. But you why did I leave myself to just have like the option for the one? So it's a tricky game, but very good. All right, my number 8 is called Witchcraft, which was made in 2023 by Trevor Benjamin, Roger Tankersley, and David Thompson. Now, David Thompson he does all the Undaunted games, so kind of like war-ish. Now, and he's also done Resist, which Witchcraft is kind of a sequel to that. And I'm not a typical war gamer,
right?
But this Witchcraft it's so cool. It's a solo only game, but it's a card driven game where you lead a coven of witches in a fantasy world, and you have to use magic to defeat challenges. And I think you increase your coven. You have to hide at certain points, but it's been talked about so much by different content creators. When it came out, it was I think you could find it at that point, but you can't find it anywhere now. And so I think they're doing a remake of it, hopefully. But I was looking for this last Halloween, and you couldn't find it. And now I've been looking for it since, still can't find it anywhere. But now people have been talking about it again. So I feel like it's getting another release. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's Witchcraft, my number 8.
Nice. That sounds interesting for sure. My number 8 is a game that you were selling, and I didn't buy it. And I was looking at just the box. I knew nothing about it. And I was like, ugh, that just seems too gimmicky. There was like big, chunky, fancy components in the middle of the table. And I was like, those can be like right? It's just like you're just creating this big gimmick. So my sister bought it instead. And I've been jealous ever since. And we've played it. And it was so good. And it's 4 gardens.
Well, that was Ashley who sold it.
Oh, was it Ashley? I thought it was you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was just like at the first look of it, because you got this big, huge tower in the middle of the table that you rotate. And I was like, okay, that's a little gimmicky. I don't think I want to play that. I don't think I need to own that. But yes, published in 2020 by Martin Dozel. And my sister bought it, and we played it at MelCon a few years back. And it was so interesting, because what happens is each level of this tower, of this garden tower thing, each side of it has like a resource of some sort or a multiple resource. And on your turn, you're going to rotate one of the levels to show what you want, and then you collect everything that's facing your side. Now, if you rotate the bottom level, everything is going to shift. But if you rotate the second, like the second from the bottom, then only the top 3 are going to shift. And if you rotate the second from the top, then only the top 2 are going to shift. And if you rotate, so you kind of have to consider what's on the other side of where you're rotating to get what you want. And well, I want this, but am I better off to rotate the whole thing on the bottom or rotate up here? Oh, but then that rotates that away and I won't get that now. And like, so it has such a really neat mechanism that I haven't seen anywhere, and I thought would be gimmicky and annoying, but it was actually really good. And then that affects like what you can build up on these different tracks, and then you can kind of get to the point where if you build your track enough, you can go and mess up the other player's track a little bit. So playing with my sister, of course, we're like all over that. And I really enjoyed it, and I didn't buy it when I had the chance, because I had bought so many games that weekend already, and I was like, okay, I better not. But yeah, so now my sister owns it, so it's not like I can never play it, but I don't own it, and that bugs me. So that's number 8, 4 gardens.
Nice. My next one is Slay the Spire. Now, this one came out this year. They're just fulfilling the Kickstarter version. This is made by, or designed by Gary Dwanetsky? Dwanetsky? That's it. And Anthony Giovanetti and Casey Yano. Now, apparently this was a video game. I never played it. I'm not a video gamer. But in my co-op kind of circles of content creators that I watched, they are raving about this game. And really all I know about it is I've watched a like an unboxing and whatnot, but is a cooperative deck building adventure game. And it's like you just craft your deck, encounter bizarre creatures, discover relics, typical adventure game. But they have said that if you were playing it solo, because you played the video game, there's really no point in getting the board game. But to play it with one or two people, it's just unreal. And I'm not sure what the difference is. I don't know if you can play off and help each other. Obviously, you can if it's a cooperative game. But I would really love to get my hands on one of these. You can't. It's not even for sale, so I don't know if it's even coming to retail. Like, I assume all games come to retail now, but it's nowhere right now. So that could be the lure of it. Like, ooh, I need to find this. But there's like a deluxe version, and which of course I would love. But so that's my number 7, Slay the Spire.
Nice. My number 7 is an older game, but I've played it for the very first time last month. When I spent that week in Edmonton, I ended up spending an evening playing board games at Pimento Way Games. And because they have it's a board game store, but they also have a large section for being able to play games if you wanted to go and play games in their library. And they had this one that had been sent to them as a demo game for them to have in their library. And that game is called Sansoucci. And it's published in 2013, created by Michael Kiesling. And it was just really interesting because you're creating this garden, I guess. And you have your play board and you have different rows, and on the top of each row you have a little meeple, and you're trying to move this meeple along deeper in the garden, but each meeple will visit only one type of things, right? So you have a column that has just fountains, then you have one that just have this kind of bush, and you have one that just has I don't know what they're called, the wooden trellis thing. And that has that or whatever, right? And on your turn, you're going to play a card from your hand that's going to have a color. And on the main board, there's the different colors that you can go and be okay, I'm going to go and I'm picking purple. So on purple, that gives me a fountain. So I can go and add fountain on fountain purple that goes right here. So now I've added that. Now, if it's grants access for my little meeple to travel down to there, then I can travel down to there, and then I can score where he lands. So if he lands on the first at the top, that would give me 1 point. Then if he lands on the second one, that would give me 2 points, and so on, right? Now, if I skip the 1 and I go straight to 2, I score 2 points. So I would get less points for not having visited both. So that's something that you do want to consider as well. And the guy can move through the garden and go okay, well, I'm going to go through these bushes to land further down and land on this fountain because there's a gap there. Now I get to score 3 because I had 1, skip 2, now 3. So I was able to kind of create a path that took me there. But my little meeple always has to land on the fountain tile. But you can kind of use the other tile to move forward. But then you're skipping and potentially kind of skipping points, but you get more points the further down in the garden you get as well. So the whole thought process of when you're playing was so neat and interesting. And it's okay, great, I've built all the way to 6. I could go to, I'm going to move to 4. I'm going to move to 5. I'm going to move, so you get to score 16 points instead of just a 6, right? It was so interesting the whole way that it worked out. I had not seen that in the game before. I thought it was so cool. So if I come across this game, I want it to come home with me, and that's number 7, Sansoucci.
Yeah, Wizards Loft had this. I'll have to look for you if they have it again, and it's a decent price too. I remember, I think it's a $40 game or something. Not too bad. Yeah,
that's totally worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My number 6 is Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig, made by Ted Alspach in 2024. Now, I think it was not this past New Year's resolution, but the one before was to not buy all of every version of one game.
Do you have regrets now?
So I haven't been doing that. And so this one I was like, I don't need that because I have the big collector's edition and I don't need the roll and write. But now I've been watching lots of reviews of it and they're like, it's different. It has something different about it. You're still doing the same thing. You were building this castle with all these different crazy rooms. I think there's like a slight difference that you are racing to goals instead of just end game goals that,
I see.
But there's something else different about it, but they're just raving about this game. And another reason I haven't bought it is because it's like a $50 like flip and sketch or like roll and write game. So that seems like pretty high for a game like that, but it comes in this big box like for a roll and write.
I didn't think it was a roll and write because of how big it looked.
So now I'm really interested in this one and it's available so I can get it. I just haven't bit the bullet yet, but yeah, I'm kind of really wanting this one now, and that's Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it. Didn't realize what was different. I didn't realize it was a flip and write. So interesting.
Well, and there's like layers that because you can put the tile, which is neat. Like, so say you were going to draw this tile, you can put it underneath your board and you have like a clear piece that can go over top and then you can trace it. So that way you don't have to like visualize how would that work in my castle. You can literally put it there and trace it, which is cool because it's sometimes hard to visualize a polyomino or something like that without actually physically putting it there. So
that is cool. Cool. My number 6, I haven't pulled the trigger on this one, mainly because so many of my friends own it, so I could just play their copy. But eventually, I'm going to want my own copy. And that's Knarr. And that one was published in 2023 by Thomas Dupont. And it's just such a simple, straightforward game. Like, and it was so interesting because you take a card, you add it, and you get to collect the benefit that's on there. Now, if it's a red card and you had another red card, then you get to collect the benefit that's on all of the piles of red card that you've accumulated. But then eventually you're going to be spending those cards to be able to acquire these other cards that's going to kind of go on your player board, and those ones are going to give you different type of abilities that you can activate. And depending on where the symbols are showing on there, whether it's in the first column, the second, or the third, it kind of builds up where you get to, if you can activate at the third level, you get to collect everything, and it just makes it more worthwhile. And those cards are also going to be worth victory points at the end. Oh, I think you score as you get them, don't you?
Yeah, as soon as you get points, you score them.
I have never won this one because I don't accumulate. I kind of get rid as I get. So in the beginning, I'm way ahead because I've accumulated all these cards and I've got all, but then 3/4 of the way, I'm barely getting anything because I haven't built up big stacks, and everybody's built up big stacks, and then all of a sudden they're selling them all. And you would think there's like, okay, I better play that way, and I refuse to. I just, as the game plays, I could get this now, and then I like get it right away. So
instant gratification.
It's hurting me in this game. But yeah, I was like, I can get this. I'm gonna get it right now. So and then I have like one card, so. Yeah, and I know what my mistake is, but it's still a mistake I do every time. But it is really cool, and this Viking theme, it's like the whole thing looks great. It's designed, like the design is well made. I quite enjoy this one. So eventually, instead of mooching of everybody's copy, I want to get my own. And that's my number 6, Knarr.
That's a good one. And it's beautiful. The art on it is just gorgeous and vibrant. John and I just played this on Monday. And it's so good. It's just a little race game that is quick. Yeah. And the one thing you need to do too is, I don't know if it's called reputation track, but it's some sort of track that you move up. One of the symbols will let you move up this track. And once you get to certain spots, like the first one will be 1, and every round you're going to get a point at the beginning of the round. Then if you get to 2, you'll get 2 and then 3 points, and then it goes to 5. If you can get up to that 5, you're getting 5 points for doing nothing every round. So that track is wise to get up as well. And people, you will find that they don't, get any points at the beginning, but they are moving up that track, and then all of a sudden they start passing you. So that track is quite important. But yeah, it is a really cool game. I'm very happy I have it. But it's available. You'll be able to find it. I haven't
this one,
seen any
yeah.
on a used market though. Nobody's
No,
selling
nobody's
this
selling
game.
that one
Yeah.
secondhand.
Yeah. No, it's good. And little spoiler, we are going to be doing a Viking episode soon. Not
Soonish.
not next, but soonish. Yeah. All right. My number 5 is Café Baras, and this is made in 2024. It's coming out, I believe, at the end of this year, kind of after Essen, by Roberta Taylor. Now, we have played the what's the word? What's it called?
The
prototype copy of this, and immediately we all fell in love with this game. It's a card game, but it's multi-use cards, which is just like, magic to my ears because I love that. And such a cool theme. What are the animals? They're
capybaras. Have you looked them up?
And yeah, we did.
Because I thought they were the size of a guinea pig. They're not. They're the
huge.
size of a goat.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
they look like giant guinea pigs though, but they are baristas basically. And you are trying to build the best barista, and how you do that is with these symbols on the cards. You need to have, now this was in Gobfest, so which is only a couple months ago, but now I'm forgetting. You've played it more recently, so you could probably explain it better than me, but it's just so neat, and it's going to be so adorable.
The goal is you're trying to get regular customers.
Right.
But so if you get the regular customers, you need to have what they like in your cafe. So you're trying to build up your cafe to be able to offer what they like. It was cool. Yeah.
No, I can't wait for this one. I'm on the pre-order list at P. Matty Way, so he's like, okay, you're at the top of the list.
Nice. I need to make sure I'm on that list too.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so my number 5 is a game that I played when I first got into the hobby back in 2017. I don't own this game. I played it the one time when I was at Shoebox on their board game night. And I was like, oh, this was cool, and I wish I could own it and play it, and I just never came across it. And this is Watson and Holmes, published in 2015 by Jesus Torres Castro. And what was cool is like you're moving around the board, and you got to go and collect these different clues for the scenario that you're playing so that you can solve the crime. So crime solving, I'm all over that. I love it. But like you got to go and collect, and then you can kind of put like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to block this location. So it takes extra for people to be able to go get that clue. Now, maybe I'm blocking it because it was a really good clue, and I don't want you guys to get it because I'm trying to solve the crime first. And then you go there and you grab the card and you read it, and it was like, this was nothing. You made me come all the way down here, like, just because you can bluff. It was like, oh, okay, I'm going to block this. It was like, oh my God, what is that clue? Then you go there and it was like, that's not even a clue. That was just a nothing. And it adds to the story anyways, but it was so really interesting how like you're going around trying to collect the clues at the different locations to be able to solve this crime, but you're competing with each other trying to be the first one to solve it. I so enjoyed it. I loved the theme. Like I said, I only played it that one time, that one little scenario out of the box, and I want the rest. So, and actually I could play that scenario again because it's been so long, I have no idea what the story was now.
How many scenarios are in there?
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, I don't know because I didn't buy it yet. I didn't come across this.
I've seen this on the used market, and I was always like,
have you? Like every once in a while, I go and search, or I'll look on Amazon. Maybe it's on there, and then I'll look on. No, it's not on that website. So it's just it is horribly out of print. So, but every once in a while, it's like, maybe now it is. Oh no, it's not. So, it's one that I just quite enjoyed, and I would like to get it. And that's Watson and Holmes, my number 5.
Awesome. All right, my number 4 is called Harmonies, and that was made this year in 2024 by John Benvenuto. Now, this is curbed as like the new Azul, but it's different, obviously. It is about animals, and you are, I believe, trying to acquire harmonies for them, but you have like a player board with these round, I think they're wooden discs, and you are trying to put them in patterns of what the cards I think they're goals, like public goals that, so you're trying to get the patterns of all those goals. And I think it's a race to do that. I think you also have some private goals as well, but you will be putting them in patterns, but you'll also be stacking things as well with other resources. I haven't looked into it hard, but I'd seen it pop up a few times, and then it was just people are nonstop talking about this game. And if you love Azul, then you will love this. And I absolutely adore Azul, and this is nature themed, so it's right up my alley. But it's gorgeous too. You have to look at the art on it. It just looks beautiful. But yeah, that's my number 4, Harmonies.
That sounds interesting. My number 4, I did not buy because, number 1, it is very expensive. And because do you know how many other games that could be? And so I never pulled the trigger. Number 2, this box is massive and would take like an entire cubby for one game. But it made my top 100, even though I don't intend to buy this. But if it's on my wish list, so if somebody gave it to me, I would be like, sure, I'm okay with that, and I would gladly take it. And that is Foundations of Rome. This game is cool, and every time I play it or watch it played, like, it's just like, oh yeah, this game is so cool. It does have a strong Chinatown and Bunny Kingdom feel to it, and I guess loosely Aquire, and then Skyrise was kind of like, well, fine, I don't own Foundations of Rome, I'll get Skyrise as well instead, but it's different enough that you should have them all. But yeah, it's cool. It is so cool. They are remaking kind of like not as, what's the word?
A streamlined
version.
Well, it is a streamlined game, but it's just a basic version of it with cardboard like instead of the actual miniatures. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe I would put Metropolis on the list, because that one I would probably buy.
Yeah.
Then, because it's just so big. Oh my God, it's big. But every player gets their own little tray that has all these 3D buildings, and it's a big tray, and then you're bidding on these cards that is for location on the board so that you can get access to that. And as you create the clusters, you can upgrade your buildings to bigger stuff, and depending on what you have there, they'll either provide you with money or population or a way to score points on what's surrounding it. It is cool. It is neat. It looks gorgeous. It's actually very simple to play.
And fast too. It's a fast game.
Like it plays fairly fast, but it is so satisfying to play. But my God, this game is definitely pricey and definitely bulky. So, but if anybody wants to gift this for me, I'm not gonna say no. It is on my top 100. So obviously I like the game, but yeah. It's just, it could be one. Like 10 other games.
Yeah.
I could buy 10 other games for that one.
I don't even know if it fits in a calyx.
I think it fits just exactly perfect.
Oh, does it?
And fills the whole thing.
Yeah. Our friend Ashley has it, so.
Yeah. Ash, yes, because Cherry had it, but she sold it to Ashley. Ashley has it. And my friend Lyle has it. So I don't need to go out of my way to get it. I do have access to be able to play this game. But, yeah.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. All right. My number 3 is Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall. And this was made last year in 2023 by Kevin Wilson. Now, this one I've been trying to find for the last few months. I can't find it. But before I was trying to find it, I had seen somebody giving it away on the game site. But they said, like, you're going to have to reset all the cards. And I hadn't even really looked into the game at the point. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then I kind of looked into it and then went back, gone. Of course, it's like a $200 game. So they gave it away to someone only to have to reset it, which big deal.
Yeah.
I reset games all the time. But anyway, what this is, I have the mini version of this game, and it's just like I have the tiny boss battler version called Kinfire Delve. And so what you're doing is you are playing cards, and it's a card-based game to fight these different beings in order to get to the big boss. And how you do that is you have to go through the deck, which is delving into the well. So you have to completely go through this deck. And each time you will fight somebody, you will get your bonus is to dig more into the well. So you'll get to take like 4 cards off. So it gets you closer to the big boss. But there are 4 cards around the big boss. And those are the ones that you kind of have to fight until you get to her. And the Vanglory is the big boss in the Kinfire Delve one that I have. And so, that's what the little one is about. Now, the big one is like a campaign game with the similar mechanics where you can play it solo, but when you play with other players, you can help each other. So if I'm like fighting just one of the cards that are there right now, I can play cards to fight, and then somebody can what is the word now? They back you basically. I can't remember what the word they call it, but they can add to your strength. So they can add things that will help, deal more damage to them. And it just sounds basic, but it is so neat. And the this big version of it has like just unreal components and not minis. They haven't used minis. They've used acrylic minis. So no, not even minis, acrylic standees is what they are, and they're just beautiful.
The look of acrylic standees.
Yeah, I really do, and I'm so
like the pretty picture of it. Right?
Yeah. I'm so sick of the gray minis. I love if they're painted, but Anyway, but so what you do in this is you go through different maps, and it's a book of maps basically, and you like fight different bosses, but how you play it is you have this bag of tokens and you will draw out one, and that's whose turn it is. So it could be your turn. It could be, whoever your partner at the table, or it could be one of the monsters or whatever. And that's how you kind of play the game. So you never know who's going to go first. So it's very tactical, I would assume. You don't draw out of a bag in the mini game. You basically just take turns back and forth, but it looks so neat, and there's so much hype about this game. And it's funny because when I was talking back a few months ago about Mythwind, we were talking to JT, and I said, I have this game that I never thought I'd be into, and I just can't wait to get it. And he's like, I bet I know what it is. And he thought it was this game. Well, lo and behold, now I'm wanting this game. I can't find it. But the good thing is it is on Kickstarter, but I'm waiting until the very end in case I can find it, because they're reprinting it, and they are actually kickstarting a new game called Kinfire Council, right, which I'm not sure that I'm totally into, but I definitely am going to back this if I cannot find it. So if somebody has it out there and they've finished the campaign and they want to give it away, sure, I'll take it. I'll even pay for it. But yeah, I can't wait to play this game. And that's my number 3, Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall.
Nice. My number 3 is a game that I played about a city. And I played the game. It was great. I enjoyed it. Then I Googled the city. And I was so impressed that this city was so iconic and looks so exactly like the board game, and how thematic the whole thing actually was, that it's made me want it more, right? And that's Barcelona. So this one was published in 2023 by Danny Garcia. And I kind of call it like it's reverse Targi. Because in Targi, you select 2 things on the outside and you get to activate what it matches. And in this one, it's reverse. Like you're adding stuff into the city and you get to activate what's on the edge of the city, depending on where you've built. But you're adding these tiles that are like, and you can have like different levels. So it's like, it's only a little bit of it, or it's like 2 corners, or it's the full levels, like the full squares. And you're ending with all these square kind of neighborhoods in this built city that you're building of Barcelona. But if you Google the city of Barcelona, it's actually shaped that way.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. And it was really interesting because you kind of try to move along this board because it was like a multiplier. So when it got to the point that we are scoring, depending on where your multiplier is, and this will move up and down as you play the game, you get to multiply where you've accumulated with where your kind of person is has reached on the multiplier, and then you're trying to get, but then it resets every time. So it was a really interesting game. I quite enjoyed it. I love the look of it, and now that I know it actually matches the city of Barcelona, I love the look of it. And that's one I would love to add to my collection. So that's my number 3, Barcelona.
Yeah, it also comes with this book that describes what his vision was, like the guy who actually developed the city. And he basically wanted to develop the city so that there was like, you didn't feel like there was classes, that it was like everyone felt, and the higher classes didn't like this at all because of course they didn't want everyone to feel as high as they did. But it's quite interesting because he was quite a genius designer, just how he did it and tried to make it like just be like, everybody's all at the same level here. Yeah, it's nice. Neat. There's actually a expansion coming out for that too, which I know you're not excited about.
Well, yeah,
I am.
It's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, my number 2 is Evenfall. Now, this one is a card-driven engine-building game where you're still managing resources, and there's a bit of area control. So it all kind of interests me because the first reason that this one did was in one of the reviews they had said, if you love Everdell, you will like this tableau builder. So it's like,
you do love Everdell.
I will probably like this. And it has like a magical theme, which I'm kind of really into right now. And it just looks really cool. And there's not really like a central player board. I think there's like some tiny ones where you kind of will place you have witches that are your workers and you will place them out. But it's mostly you're building up your cards, and it just looks so interesting. And there's some cool resources. It's not like a high quality game, I believe, but looks very neat. I've already bought upgraded resources for it. Nice. Can't get the game yet, but because I have quite a few already upgraded resources that are for like just generic games, but so I had to make sure that I have these herb tokens, which I just got, have all the other tokens that are needed for it. But so I've got the little tokens now. I just need to get the game, but it is another one that was out 2023, and then all of a sudden couldn't find it. You can't find it anywhere. So I'm hoping, and it's on pre-order everywhere. I never do a pre-order because I feel like, well, I'll just get it when it comes out. But this one, I'm almost tempted to like put my name on, one of the pre-orders for it. But yeah, that's my number 2, Evenfall.
My next 2 games are probably the smallest games on my whole list. But they're making the top of the list because those smaller games are so much easier to get to the table and get played. And it's like my small games are the ones that get played the most. Just because with my family or with the gaming event, they're easy to get to the table. They're easy to play. And because we can play them so much, they're that much more attractive, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this one, I played it for the first time at Gobfest. And I asked to play this because everybody was talking about it. And it was adorable. It's such an adorable looking game. And this is Boop. Boop was created in 2022 by Scott Brady. Now, it could be Boop, or it could be Boop, which is the Halloween version of it, or it could be Boop the Hall, which is coming out, and that's going to be like the Christmas version. Yeah. So that would be really exciting. And I think it kind of it's a bit more complex. So if I get Boop the Hall, I think I want Boop still. But this game, so you open the box and you put this little mattress cover on top of the box, and then you have cats and kittens, and you place them on the mattress. But if you place a cat next to another cat, it's going to boop the cat one space away because it's not what are they called, like with the individual memory foam coil thing. Yeah. It's not one of those mattresses, right? It moves. So then you bounce the cat away, and you can actually make them bounce off the mat altogether. And you will move your own cats, or you'll move other people's cats. But if you have, you need to get 3 kittens in a row in order to replace them with a grown cat. And then the goal of the game is to get 3 cats in a row to win the game. But because they keep bouncing all over the place, that will kind of affect. But I couldn't wrap my mind around, if there's 2 together, it doesn't boop those ones. But and it was just I didn't win this one. I played this game twice with Roberta Taylor, and she just whooped my butt twice. It was unreal. But it was so cute, so adorable. And it is like a simple game to play. It's not complex rules at all. But it's one I want to get. I want to have this in my collection. So that's my number 2. Boop.
Yeah, it sounds easy. It's not easy. I can't wrap my brain around this one. I've tried it on BGA. I haven't ever tried it in person, but I don't know what it is. Maybe I have to play with the physical contents, but it's just to get them, because I'm always booping myself. Like, I move here and I'm like, oh crap! I just like spread all my people all over the place. Yeah, no, I will master it someday, but I don't own this one either. I think because it's frustrated me, so I'm like, no way.
That's
awesome.
Funny.
All right, my number 1 is Civolution, and that is coming out this year by Stefan Feld. Now, this is a Civ game.
Nice.
Stefan Feld's first Civ
right.
game. So, I don't know what it'll be like. I've seen an unboxing of it. Have not seen rules or playthrough, but it looks really interesting. I think you are students and you are trying to develop a world. Like, I don't know if it's for a project or something, but
okay, cool.
And you have these, I've seen the player boards. They're like dual layer player boards and they're huge. They have like 2, they look like almost stairs, how they're formed.
Oh, wow.
And then all these different tiles. And I think you start with tiles on and you remove them to upgrade and kind of thing. But I don't know anything about it other than the look of it. And that the playtesters have adored it and said it's
nice.
Like one of it, if not his best, one of his best games. So it's brand new.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
But should be interesting. He's never done anything like that. He usually does point salad games, so it'll be interesting if this is like the first
like
civilization.
Civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. Yeah, that's my number 1, Civolution.
Civolution. I'll have to look out for that one.
Mm-hmm.
My number 1 is a crossover. So we do have one crossover, and this is Café Baras.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We played it twice at GotFest with Roberta's prototype copy. And then me and Roberta had I call it a play date. I called her. I was like, want to have a play date when I'm in Edmonton? She was like, you betcha. So we spent the day, we went out for breakfast and then spent the day at a board game cafe. And we played a few games. And she had her final copy of Café Baras there. So I got to see the final thing. And then I took pictures and I got to touch and look at them all. And yeah, the multi-use card games, and then like you get emotionally involved with it. It's like, oh my god, a crib board. Okay, I want to add a crib board to my cafe. I was like, well, does that suit what you're trying to accomplish? It's like, don't care, I want the crib board. Like, and you get, it's like where you get emotionally involved in the game as well. But you're trying to get, like, you can offer teas and coffees and donuts and muffins, and you're trying to have things that you can offer so that you can attract regular customers. And if you get the regular customers, you get to tuck them in. And it's the first 1 to 3 will trigger the end of the game, and then you tally up. But you can also, instead of trying to make them regular customers, because you need to have, like, offer what they want, but also have the right atmosphere that they like in a cafe, because you're adding stuff to kind of create a different atmosphere for your cafe. But you can also just fill in orders and then be like, okay, well, this one wants a coffee and a muffin, and I am producing coffee and a muffin, so I get 2 coins for providing that. And then you kind of build up the coins, and which is how you buy new cards as well to add to your cafe. It was so neat, so satisfying, so adorable. Oh my god, so adorable. And then the artwork is just so cool. I really, really want this. I cannot wait for it to be released. And that's my number 1, Café Baras.
Yeah, it's gonna be cute. How big is the box? I'm curious.
You dice veggie size.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, I like that size.
Yeah,
awesome. Yes, and that one will be ripe for expansions because you can just add in more cards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice because then you can just fit them in the box. Which
exactly.
You can fit expansions in there, and if it's just cards, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so that's our wish list. So our birthday's coming up. Keep that in mind if you're wondering what to get.
Oh yeah, right. Mine are going to be impossible to find, but and expensive, so I don't expect any of them. I will hopefully have a few before Malcon of these.
Yes, because Malcon start on our birthday. Me and Carla, if you've been following us at all, we have the exact same birthday. It took us like a year or two to figure this out. But yeah, we have the same birthday, and we are doing Malcon for our birthday, because what better gift than to have a board game convention? And so we're treating ourselves.
That's only 5 weeks away. I'm just looking.
I know, it's coming up.
Holy crap.
I know, I'm excited.
Wow.
It's going to be good. Yeah. So if you do want to attend Malcon, it's going to be hosted at the Acme Legion, June 21st, 23rd to 23rd. There's no set price. It's donation if you wish, but if, so it's just kind of open to anybody who wants to come. And
there's going to be a cafeteria or something.
Yeah, they're going to
vendor, right?
Yes, they're going to be providing food. I don't know exactly what is going to be on the menu. I need to meet up with her and kind of verify that. But they also have been having food available at the Acme Legion Day that we do monthly here. And it's been amazing. So I'm sure it's going to be good. But our next topic, we're going to be doing our top 9 Stonemaier games. Because we've been doing our top 9 designers, and we could do Jamie Stonemaier. I was like, well, might as well, or Jamie Stegmaier, but we might as well just do all Stonemaier games.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing our top 9 Stonemaier's games for our next podcast. But before we call it all quits, Carla, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word, and I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. What about you?
One thing I want to bring up that I forgot to do at the beginning of our episode is we have a sponsor.
Oh, yes.
So we are sponsored by Games and Couples, which is a portion of Oshrat Online Counseling. And Games and Couples concentrate on couple counseling utilizing the Gottman principles. And what they've discovered is that to put these principles in play was a good way of doing it was through gameplay, especially cooperative board games. So we're going to have the link down below. Be sure to check them out. I am on Facebook at Mel's Board Game Room, on Instagram as Mel's_boardgame_room, and my YouTube channel is Mel's Board Game Room. And be sure to check out our Discord. Carla, you've been all over this Discord lately. Because for one, Carla plays a average of almost 200 games a month. So she has a lot of games she can share. And she's been sharing more and more. So it's been really entertaining to see all these different games. Because they're almost never the same. It's always a new game as well. So yeah be sure to join the Discord just to see what Carla's playing.
But I am slowing down because it is golf season and hiking season. So there's starting. a little bit less now. But I still play a lot. I have a lot of alone time, so I play a lot of solo games, and then I play with my game group, and then make my husband play, and when the kids want to play, so I have different people to play with too.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's my retired goal there. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check us at the next podcast for our top 9 Stonemaier games.
Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.